before I go into the questions on all of these topics that I have mentioned, Mr. President, there is, first of all, I want us to have a little conversation on what you've been doing in the past years. I remember that last year you took it upon yourself. I said in my introduction that leaders have come and left, movements have come and gone, but you are like a rock in the middle of the sea that is not moving. And you have been so consistent that you've shocked the minds of everybody. You've shocked the minds of Ambazonians. Even the international community is confused. You know, when they said before that there are 2 chips of sugar that are dropped in the basin and that will be melting soon, and you said, die, we die here, I'm going nowhere, you're not melting. You said, Chang, I am going nowhere, and you've been there. The water has dried up, the added water is coming, is dried up, but you sit there and you're staring at them. And so, Mr. President, I remember last year you took it upon yourself to speak to Ambazonians state by state. You went into their cultures, you brought out the beauty of that culture, that state, the resources that those states they have, what the elite of those states, the history of those states, the fighters that were in that state. You brought out so many things to sell the Ambazonian culture to the people who did not even know about their own cultures. Yes. And you took your time such that we all got educated via this state-by-state address, because the things you brought out during that time, none of us, of course, our history has been distorted over the years, but you brought us the raw and undiluted history of these respective states. So what I'm asking, you also have taken up again the initiative of trying to do daily briefings to Ambazonians. Despite the many outings you make, you take it on yourself to do daily briefings to Ambazonians. What is this thing, Mr. President? I know Ambazonian. Where is this strength and motivation coming from? Is it that I don't know, please talk to us, sir. The people are so anxious to hear you talk. What is it, Mr. President?
It's one of the most difficult questions I've ever been asked. I don't know. I am just, what should I say? I'm just dedicated to things I believe in. Right. And that holds true to my life, to my friendship. And I hold long-term friendship. So when I believe in something and I try to find out fundamental facts about those things. And when I'm committed to altering, especially people's lives, I do so. I walk on the street and I find beggars. I just feel like I start judging myself. Why am I better off? And so I believe the Ambazonian people have been deceived. They have been traumatized. The deceit is so monumental. And the arrogance of the enemy is palpable. And so sometimes you simply have to take the bully in the neighborhood and call their bluff. When it came to the things you've outlined, and I think you stopped me from doing daily, as the name goes, daily briefing. You advised that I should give some days, and that's why people don't get me on a daily basis. And I think you were right. You come to realize that we are the strategy of the enemy has been to look at Fako on Dian and say, well, this is where the resources are concentrated, because the enemy has gone along the kind of colonial lines of argument, thinking that the resources of today is only in oil. And they use these tactics of deception to fuel an anti-state kind of agenda from the states that believe they have wealth. states that are projected as wealthy become somehow entitled and believe in the propaganda of the enemy. So I wanted to make other states to say, no, we aren't broke, that we are equally rich. And that would inspire them not only to stand for their state, but it will create some sense of respect for themselves with respect to the other states. For me, it was also a learning journey. I'm fighting, I'm leading, but I read on a daily basis to know my country, to understand the cultures of others, to use that knowledge to overcome certain barriers, certain, I think you are aware that different nationalisms within Ambazonia have been denigrated. If you came from Pingin, you were denigrated. You came from Bafut, you were called Seven Kata. It was a denigration. Instead of seeing that connotation as a name or connotation of power and empowerment. If you came from Kwakwa, you were given certain names. I just wanted to educate Ambazonians to believe in themselves, to embrace their culture, and that embrace will begin their own personal liberation from the deception of the enemy.
Okay. And to be honest, you did a great job, and Ambazonians really appreciated you for what you did, because most people, even people from Bafut, most of them didn't even understand the cultural values, the Bafut tradition itself, the history of Bafut and what Bafut did during the colonial time.
Exactly.
And so you brought up, you gave us that undiluted education, but still, despite these sacrifices that you're making, Mr. President, we still had people on the social media saying, "Oh, you're doing all of these daily briefings, or you were trying to speak to